There is a place in Panama where few men travel, for many believe it harbors sacred and mystical places. This is the realm of a people whose belief in spirits infuses their whole lives, the Kuna Indians, who have remained separate from Western culture and Western ways.
Achu, the jaguar, makes us strong hunters. Igli, the ants, makes us good and willing workers. The iguana makes a man a better person, but it is a dangerous medicine.
Luis Martello is a Kuna medicine man. He knows many secrets of the rainforest. The legends of the Kuna are told and retold in nightly gatherings. The dancing and singing of those who call themselves the Golden People reaffirm their identity as Kuna. Their vision of the spirit world has helped to create something unique, a vital and healthy forest in a part of the world where that is all too rare. Most Kuna live along a strip of the east coast of Panama called the Comarca. In addition to a narrow band of forested mainland, it encompasses a coral reef and numerous offshore islands. About 40 of these small islands, the San Blas, are inhabited by some 50,000 Kuna. The Kuna enjoy a great deal of autonomy granted by the Panamanian government. When they choose, they can remain isolated from the Western world, protected by the remoteness of their territory and a wary and, at times, even hostile attitude toward outsiders. It has been that way for centuries, ever since the Kuna began to be pushed farther and farther east by the invasion of the Europeans. However, there are signs of change. Today, Kuna men and women may leave the islands for work or a Western education. Yet the wariness of outsiders is often still evident. They speak now of a second invasion, that of the tourists. Few Kuna villages allow visitors, and none allow anyone except a chosen few to stay overnight. 33-year-old Prudencio Gonzalez has spent 15 years as a merchant marine. Though he's away for long periods, he always returns to his village. 3 generations live in the hut. In Kuna tradition, Prudencio will inherit his mother's property, cementing his connection to the island. His wife, like almost all the women, still wears traditional dress. The applique blouses, or molas, are renowned for their handiwork. Since the women are not allowed to learn the Kuna myths, the designs come from anything that surrounds them in daily life. They may also come from their own imaginations, like this flying jaguar. Prudencio is planning a trip into the mountains with the medicine man, Luis Martello. Such journeys are a time-honored way of teaching the younger generation the ways of the Kuna. Luis is an inagulate, a man who knows the curing powers of a host of plants and animals.
I learned medicine when I was 25 years old from a man called Maganista. I learned it to be able to help my people, to cure the sick, to talk to people.
The ingredients are soaked in water to release their special properties. Luis endows them with power by chanting, instructing them what to do.
I protect nature for a reason. That is where all kinds of animals and medicinal plants live. There grows a host of medicine plants. It is like a drugstore. As you have your drugstore, nature provides us with the same. That's why I respect nature and conserve it as directed by our ancestors.
The Indians are at a crossroads today. Western education has colored their learning and pulled the men away from the villages. Young men like Prudencio must make a choice to hold on to tradition. Wooden dugouts are still used by many to go to and from the mainland. Farming, hunting, and fishing continue as a way of life for those who remain on the islands. Though Prudencio has traveled and often speaks Spanish rather than Kuna, he honors his connection to his people.
Once I was ill, and my grandfather, who was a great teacher and a botanist, taught me about the mountains which were all around us. They were like a pharmacy where they kept all kinds of medicines. When I was ill, my grandfather cured me, and because of that, I deeply respect our traditions.
Regard for the mountains was translated into a modern concept when the Kuna created the first nature reserve set up by indigenous Central Americans. The idea stems from a more deeply rooted belief. Certain areas of the forest are anointed as kalukanas, strongholds which are guarded by powerful spirits. If the trees are cut down or the forest entered without due caution, the spirits which live in the stronghold are capable of doing serious harm. Illness may sweep through the villages.
There are diseases and plagues there. And once an epidemic hit our town. The leader, Kawinti, the teacher, freed us from the disease after holding a ritual ceremony. And I have a profound belief in this.
The trip Luis has planned for Prudencio will take them far from the islands and close to a sacred place. Such a journey is not undertaken lightly. There are many ways to offend the spirits. Luis and Prudencio set out early the next day. Luis has a reputation for going deeper into the mountains than any other Kuna, and the further from home, the more dangerous it becomes. Luis is bold only because he knows how to deal with the demons of the forest. The sea holds great meaning in the multi-leveled universe of the Kuna. A spiritual umbilical cord leads from the fourth level of the cosmos into the ocean and gives birth to all the animals that enter the world. Both good and bad spirits exist on almost every plane. leaf, used only by the Kuna, has suffered little of the degradation that is threatening similar areas elsewhere in the Caribbean. The Indian's forest is a benign place only for those who behave morally and cautiously. Every living and non-living thing has an invisible counterpart. It is the spirits which give the world its vital force. The healthy balance of life here is due in large part to the Kuna view of creation. For them, the world began as the spirit of the Great Mother, and it was the plants of the forest that clothed her. The Great Mother and Great Father set about preparing the world for the appearance of the Kuna, the golden people. Plants and animals were told they were to be used by the Indians. No dangerous spirits existed, and death was unknown. When the Great Mother was hungry, animals like the curassow would come and offer themselves as food. At that time, the earth was paradise. Today, the Kuna still believe that each plant and animal must be treated as if it were a human being. If the forest is to be utilized, it must be flattered and negotiated with, for spirits travel everywhere. Respect is a key ingredient in successful dealings with the natural world. Luis is taking bark from a tree known as avella. It is considered a panacea and is often used for stomach aches and to improve circulation. Like all Kuna medicines, it will have to be told what to do. There is a strict etiquette in cutting the bark and wrapping up the pieces. If you don't follow the ritual, you risk angering the spirits. Many of the medicines have more than one use, sometimes for seemingly unrelated purposes.
Dispe is used to improve eyesight, to make your eyes stronger. You have to wash your eyes with it. It's also used to learn to ride and to learn handicrafts.
Cats like the ocelot are powerful figures to the Kuna. Some of the Indians hunt, but not enough to deplete the wildlife. These rare animals can still be glimpsed in Kuna territory, but are usually seen during the day only when it is cloudy or rainy. Though they fish and are at home near the water, they also hunt in the forest, eating rodents, peccaries, or even monkeys. In the mangroves, a tamandua is on the prowl for termites. The anteater is considered dangerous by pregnant Kuna women. To be touched by one before giving birth can make a child lazy and listless. The spirits of tree-climbing animals belong to the domain of the cloud stronghold, or Mokakana. Though the Kuna separate the earthly tamandua from the spiritual one, they believe they exist in a sort of parallel world. Even in the profusion of life that grows here, Luis knows exactly where to find many of the plants he is looking for.
Actud is for children, to make them have healthy bodies and strong spirits. and also to make them fearless.
The basket, too, is a part of forest ritual. The tapir is a living fossil, the largest, most primitive, and one of the rarest mammals in the American tropics. One of its spiritual parallels is tapir man, part of a group of animal men which rule over their real counterparts. One legend about Tapir Man tells of great wrestling matches between him and Manatee Man. Perhaps this story stems from the tapir's ease in the water, where it often grazes on aquatic plants. It is said that the battles were so violent that they broke through kuna huts and snapped full-size trees in half. On Earth, the solitary tapir goes its own way, staying religiously along well-trodden pathways in its small territory. Other kuna spirits live in the realm of the whirlpool, which is also populated by earthly creatures. When rivers flood, it is the whirlpool guardians easing overcrowding in the spirit world. When the streams and waters do not provide as they should, guardians of the gates that lead from the spirit world to the earthly realm may act. They open the gates and release more fish or game into the world for the kuna's use. This is a dual world where spirits travel freely and can protect or do harm according to how they are treated. The stories Luis tells are underlain by a lifetime of experience in the forest. The Kuna worldview is flexible, intertwining the modern and the ancient, the spiritual and the tangible. It is the core of their identity. The legends may teach history, morality, or even natural science, but the central myth is the way of the Great Mother, the story of creation. Luis speaks of the past, when there were houses, trees, and rivers of pure gold. He also tells of the time when paradise ended. The earth became corrupted when the half men, half animals appeared. It was then that the world became populated with threatening creatures. Snakes had only to stare at their victims to bring on fits and death. Life was transformed into something infinitely treacherous. The plants took on new and menacing shapes. Poisonous plants appeared, and the trees grew thorns. Paradise was lost. When humans appeared, they had to cope with many dangers and dilemmas. Some of those evils have now been pacified, but the earth can still be a hazardous place. The next morning, Luis and Prudencio continue on, more cautiously now as they are nearing the Calukana, the spirit stronghold. Forest spirits may travel right alongside them. When this happens, humans can easily become confused or lost. Luis is well aware of all this.
If you follow the path too close to the Calucana, you feel as if an invisible net is thrown at you, from which you can't get out. There is a kind of invisible lock that will open and release bad spirits. If bad things start to happen, you should run away, because this thing happened as a warning. And if you continue, you'll be attacked by jaguars and other creatures that will devour you.
The Kuna men will go no further. The spirits that protect the Calucanas protect the earthly forest as well. Even for Luis, there is a boundary beyond which he will not trespass.
If I go into the mountains, it is impossible for me to get into the Calucana, because I don't know the prayers to get in. Only the Neles, the wise men, do. Without this knowledge, it is far too dangerous.
It is the sanctity of these areas which will cause parts of the rainforest to remain pure and untouched. Have made their spiritual views an essential part of their everyday lives. The ability of the Indians to revere and believe in the intangible has protected the very real world that surrounds them, the golden jungle.